Here we go.
Okay, so welcome everybody to episode 2 of In the Trenches. I'm your host Thresher, and unfortunately my co-host Turtle is unfortunately unable to make it tonight. So kicking it all off, we have two very special guests from Maritime Paintball Podcast. On my right here, we have Thomas, known as the King, and on my left we have Julian, which is also Brad. We also have Scotian tuning in from Ontario.
Currently
looking beautiful. Are you at work right now?
Yeah, I am actually at work right now.
Ah, nice.
And our Phantom that is also to the very left of the screen is Trevor.
We'll wait for him.
That's if he's connected.
Pretty sure he was there.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, there he is.
I'm just a chair.
Yeah, Turtle is, like I said, he's not here, but he'll be here with us in spirit, as I will have his picture off to the side. So with that, this is a very special episode. This is actually going to be our D-Day specials. We're going to talk about D-Day 2022 at Commando Paintball in Ottawa. For most of us, it's a very special day because it's one of the largest paintball games in Canada. And most of all, for the Maritimers, it was a very special day because we went up as 3 separate groups to meet at this one place, and we kind of came back united.
Indeed.
Yep. Yeah. And there's this one quote I want to read off. This is from my experience being in the military and going through basic training, how they teach us military history. There's this one quote this unknown vet stated in World War I. Yes, this is based off Vimy Ridge, but he said, "We went up the ridge as Albertans and Nova Scotians, and we came down as Canadians." So for us, we went up as Nova Scotians, New Brunswickans, and Ontarians, and we came back as the Maritimers.
Well, it's fun meeting new people on the field. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'd met you guys before. I'd never met Scotian before, but we knew I was going to have a Donair like on the desk but I got lazy and I didn't go get one because, so for us, it's running into the lads on the field and having that cool community again. And then spending the whole weekend rolling with a group of guys that you've never really done it with before. You never danced the tango with them, and it's fun finding new wingmen.
Yeah,
it's not often you find someone you can run on a field with and gel with the second. Yeah. Like Brad and I play a very similar game. Like we take off, I take off, I vanish like a fart in an air suit, man. I'm gone.
Yeah,
I'm off someplace.
Every group of people has that one person that just disappears and goes off and just causes chaos while the rest of the group is actually doing most of the work.
The goal is, yes, you guys absolutely did a lot of the work, but then I come back with more people.
Yeah.
I don't come back with 1 or 2 guys. I come back with 4 or 5. Okay, boys, we're going to take these motherfuckers. Like when we met Rhino and we met all those and Kong and all those maniacs, they made it so much more fun. Meeting Sandy for the first time is just like, oh shit, buddy, I think I met you once at the King of Donair in like 2001, and I wouldn't have even questioned it.
Yeah.
Turtle, it's like looking in a very sweet, it's like the sweetened version. It's the condensed milk version of me.
Yeah.
He is he's delightful.
I love it.
The mini me.
Yep. Trevor, I got a kick out of. I've said it 100 times. I love rolling with Trevor because there's no question. It's just like, just fucking go. We're just gonna run in there. I savor just running those kids down behind the train once at Moncton Paintball. Drop your AR. We're just going in. Drew the pistol and took off around the corner and didn't say it twice. I turned around. There's Trevor right behind me. Just aggressive. And the man is for those you can't see him, but he's like one of the nicest. He reminds me of my brother. So sweet and nice and tame. And then you just uncork him and you let him go. And it's a sight to behold. I met your dad just recently.
Yeah,
your dad is a wonderful dude. I had no clue that's who he was until Brad's like, that's Trev's dad, right? I'm like, oh. That explains a few things. That explains why I like them both so much. It just makes it easy.
Yeah. Trevor's like kind of like a rabid beaver that you can kind of like keep in captivity and then just let it go and it causes chaos.
That's great. And then there was that other guy. There was that other guy that runs like Naruto, but we don't worry about him. He does his own thing. He just stands there and hovers.
Actually, the other day there, or sorry, last weekend, he basically was just like commanding an army of rentals and sent them off to their death.
What are you doing under that table? That's making me nervous. He went under the table, and I just could have sworn he was going to try to touch my pee-pee. And
He probably has like a stash of donaires down there.
son of a bitch, better not.
Okay, so with that, let's start it off with D-Day 2022, the 10th anniversary. Yeah, so I remember showing up there. We got there like super early in the morning, trying to get a good space. And then like I remember that we were originally going to be fighting for the Allies, and then they switched us to the Germans.
It's well, you know, superior technology, superior soldiers. So
Yeah,
they sent us to win with the losers.
Basically.
yeah, but we ended up winning.
Yeah.
Hey, that was unplanned. I don't think they were banking on that. The winners don't mean anything.
Yeah. Well, kicking it off, I guess Brad, if you want to chime in on that, because I remember just waiting for the fireworks to go off. We had a couple of funny moments just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, I think you ended up making a pretty adorable TikTok about it, about the fact that basically it's tradition, and it was tradition in the army that a lot of the armor corps was Newfoundland because we're all short.
Yeah.
And my father didn't want to do it because he didn't like being in tight spaces, and you made a very adorable little TikTok about it. And I was just like, damn, that's fun. And I think you made it during like when we were having supper.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, like it was just like doodle, like you're just fiddling away on your phone, and then suddenly there's like adorable little video pops up. But yeah, it was great. There's a weird energy right before everything goes off, before the fireworks go off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like there's a lot of last minute, like, okay, what are we doing? Where are you going? Where's everybody doing? What's everybody doing? Where are we going? What are we doing? And then a lot of just like people just being like just vibrating, ready to go. Like, let me go. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I remember like just before the fireworks went off too, there was one guy came over to our group because it was Brian, and we had a couple other people with GoPros around, and the guy comes over and goes, hey, YouTubers, where you plan on going? And then just like, well, where you plan on going? Because we're probably going in that direction.
Yeah. So it's I mean, yeah, there's it's one of those things. Sorry, my microphone keeps like vanishing. It's bothering the shit out of me. There we go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of the, it's not uncommon for myself, Brian, and a couple other folks to have people basically wander up and say like, hey, where are you guys going? Where like, because they kind of they want to be involved in the content creation side of things. So they're very like, I want to follow you.
I've seen that personally too, like just in like standard games, just on a typical walk on Sunday, people just walk up and they just try and hover around the person with the camera to get in there, and you're just like, okay, like let's go this way, like let's make it work.
Yeah.
They definitely do that. I have no good memory of the opening of either D-Day or PRZ, because both times my marker shit himself. What, 5 minutes before? It wasn't even 5 minutes. I was at the gate and my gun failed and I had to go all the way back and I missed the opening. And then at PRZ, we discovered why Daddy's going to get himself a T15 and try it out, because there's nothing worse than shotgunning $1 a shot, and it's just shotgunning paint. And every so often you see an FS just go pink and come out, and you hear someone yelp. But it's always fun when people just run up to you, and it doesn't even matter if you've got a camera, I find, because a lot of times I don't have a camera. But when you're an extroverted personality like the Turtle or like me or like Brad, where you're just like, all right, let's go. And you have to bring that energy.
Yeah.
I would say the wolf brings that energy. I didn't get to see it. But I do know that he was creeping in the woods, and I had a blast hunting a wolf and not catching him because he's sneaky.
Yeah. My all-time favorite moment of that weekend, though, it wasn't during the D-Day game, but it was the MagFed game, when it was you, myself, and Wolf in that corner, and you were trying to chirp Brian from across the field. That was the funniest.
Oh, poor Nightmare. Yeah. He shot me in the ass for my insolence. He damn near shot me in the asshole. Just like
9-9.
9-9.
Yep. Sorry, Jay's game.
Ah,
Oh, cool. You're gonna go. I thought you were gonna go and thump somebody. He's like 9-9. Is that the code for Sandy to come beat the shit out of somebody?
I thought that was like I thought it was like a new form of like 86. This motherfucker over here,
Yeah.
like
Honey, I need an angel shot, and Sandy just comes out with his marker, and he's like, "All right, cocksucker, where is he?"
9-9. Yeah.
so yeah, with that, like after the break, I remember we went right for the shoreline, and I remember we got to like the middle of the field, normally where the normal starting point is for the normal games, but unfortunately because of the tornado hit Ottawa that weekend, so the weekend before, we couldn't use that starting zone. But I remember we got there and everyone was like looking around, it was like all confused because normally that's usually the meeting point from what I heard from past years. And then people are like, no, just keep pushing. And we managed to like push like the Allies right back into the respawn because they never came up the hill in time by the time we already took half the field.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you guys overran them real
That
hard.
was definitely hands down one of the best firefights I've actually been in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Oh, was that when you
was-
had your shirt taken off and you were just going in there balls to the wall with your Predator dreads and
That was
just
probably
fucking
about
there Sandy goes marching up there. I'm like,
that was probably about
This
40
motherfucker.
minutes into the game because I remember
Oh.
I went back and rearmed because we just ran out of paint just trying to hold off the other team. And then I came back in, and then that's when all of us met up, and then we have that other video where I said your nips will protect us as we just walked in.
yep.
Yeah.
Why am I out in
Sandy's
front?
nips did-
Don't worry, your nips will protect us. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did too.
Yeah.
They
And-
were
Yeah, and then I
With the
remember
nipples.
right after that, Turtle and I were on the ladders shooting across that field into
my
the
God,
tree
that was
line
fun.
because that's where the Allies were coming up through. And I remember I looked back and he's just sitting there just going like this with his with his gun just humping the air. And then we're looking back like, what are you doing?
oh man, you know what? You just need to throw your ass out there a lot
Yeah.
of the times to get those golden moments. And it's you can't try and do it. And the ones that try to mug for cameras, they're never going to get it.
Yeah.
It's just go out and be the most extreme version of what you want to be on the field.
Yeah.
I'm loud and extroverted everywhere I go, but I get to go 5 degrees farther.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Brad, who is a retail warrior, is one of the angriest human beings I've ever seen in my life.
Mhm.
And there's nothing funnier than watching him come around the corner and he's got the march on because somebody clapped him twice and they may have gave him a bonus ball or two.
Yeah.
And him going back up that fucking hill. And I can watch him march up there with Mr. Zach and he's going up there
Yeah.
to fuck
I
somebody.
believe I actually have a photo of his infamous march from D-Day hanging around somewhere. It's probably in my files on my computer. I have to find it, but I have a picture of him with the gun, one hand slung by his side, him just walking off in an angered pose.
Yeah,
Yep.
if he's got a bit of the lean forward
Yeah.
and the gun and the marker's down by his side, he's kind of leaning forward a little bit. He's pissed off and he's going to womp somebody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because following that, because we started to like kind of push up towards the top of the hill at that point. And this is actually when I met up with Sandy on the top of the hill, and Luke got shot in the nuts, and it was the most perfect timing cinematic moment ever because it was a double shot that someone shot at him, and the first one hit him in the nuts, but the second shot trailing missed and hit the car. So by the time Luke reacts to him getting shot in the nuts, all you hear is dunk of it hitting the steel and him just in pain.
Oh, poor turtle.
Yeah, and then he's just
The
like,
poor guy.
I look over because I just hear him like go, ugh, and I look over and then I'm like, what? And he's just like, they shot my penis. They shot my penis. Why did they shoot my penis?
Yeah, well, again, I have told you all that your balls are worth $19.95 plus tax at Wally World. So go get yourself cut.
Yeah.
Hell, a pair of fucking socks does not cost anything. And I like to think that your dingle and tackleberries are fucking
Yeah.
worth not getting smacked hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Hard.
also another reason why I wear a kilt.
Yeah, because it catches it and then just rolls
Yep.
away.
Yep. It's like a
Except for that one day that you had the ball go up your kilt.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah.
my favorite was during the final battle, Buddy with the bagpipes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I walked over and they were peppering me and I had a conversation with them mid-game. So I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. He goes, no, I've got my pouch. And then he had the proper tobacco pouch in front of his junk.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a fuck.
Nope.
And I don't think he got shot too many times. He said it didn't happen much. He goes, took a couple, but I mean,
Well, even at the break of the game on the first 10 minutes of it, he was standing on top of a bunker in the middle of the field, and there wasn't really much action going around him, but he still had balls flying left and right.
oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
playing the role, and he did it really well.
Yeah.
I will say the day of like the big battle was a lot of fun at D-Day, but for me, the MagFed day was really the chef's kiss, because it's something we've never seen.
Yeah.
Collectively at this table, with the exception, you guys probably seen, Brad has seen some fucking huge games.
Yeah.
It was a land of wonder for me, because it's the happiest place. That's the Disneyland. I got 3 days of paintball, and I can just go wild.
Yeah.
Met
Speaking
some cool cats.
Yeah, speaking of being like a big game and all that for all of us, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but you said that they sold out on tickets for D-Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, so normally D-Day is around 1,200 people. This last year, they actually cut it down to 800 or 900 people, and they ended up selling out. They were like, yeah, we sold all our tickets, because they had that limit put on it, which I'm kind of glad they limited it. It would have been probably too much if they had all 1,200 people there this year,
because of the lack of infrastructure, because of the damage.
The lack of infrastructure, but also some of the back end struggles that they were having.
Yeah.
I mean,
didn't they sell out of paint at one point?
No, I don't think they sold out of paint. They have an entire truck, trucked in, like an entire 56-foot trailer is trucked in for them. But no, they sold out of First Strikes. I knew that.
Yeah,
I knew that. I think it was also because it was the person, they were worried because of the Rona thing, and they were just having a bit of back end shit. It happens to everybody in the business. We've noticed it. I mean, God, poor Hypersports the last couple of months have just been getting ramrodded with not really the best paint, and apparently they've fixed it. Apparently the paint now, Ian's got some good stuff, so that's good. But yeah, the paint was good. I think I'm cleaning my EVS, and I found chunks of paintballs from Commando still like wedged into the eyepieces.
Yep.
It stuck. It held well.
So yeah, getting back on track. This is actually going to be with one for Sandy, because this is his favorite moment. Was my favorite moment was we started to do that secondary push to push them back off that tree line and more back into their spawn. I remember we got right up across that road, and we got dug into that ditch, and we just kind of made that ditch our home. And at one point, we basically started chirping the Mirabelle Army, because they got switched over to the other side. And I'll give it to Sandy on this one, because it's just his point, and then me following it behind him.
Yeah, so that was actually probably the most intense battle I've had. So Thresher and I were going up to the main field there, pushing across to get down towards the other to the roads of spawn, and we made it across the road. I'm down on my belly, just crawling across, because I got shots coming over top of my head. Same with Thresher here. Make it into the woods, and we're still getting shot at. I'm buried up to my Cossacks in just dirt and whatever else was in there. And I don't even know how many shots I fired off, but there was quite a few shots. Thresher returning fire on them as well. Come to find out that they had actually pushed themselves up behind the netting there and was actually shooting underneath the netting at us. So they were, and I was absolutely livid, because I ended up poking my head up, and I'd seen that they were literally underneath the netting with their barrels underneath, just peppering shots at us. So
that's a little skeezy.
Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah.
it got to the point too where like I was to the right of him as he was saying, and I was shooting kind of into the tree line, just literally shooting into bushes. Like it was almost like something out of Vietnam. Like you just couldn't really see where they were. You just knew the direction they were shooting you from. And I had
Yeah.
my mags literally stacked out in the dirt in front of me because I knew that this was going to be straight up just keep shooting, reload, grab the next mag, drop it down, grab the next mag, drop it down. And he just goes 3 o'clock net, 3 o'clock net. And I look over and that's when I seen that they were coming from that angle trying to take out our little fortification. And next thing I know, I just hear out of his words was like something out of Leonard Kenny. I can't remember what the exact first line was, but then I responded at something as well. So I'll let you say that.
It was something along the lines of "Give your fucking balls a tug."
Yeah.
You,
And then
but you blah 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 blah. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was oh man, and it was. Yeah, I was angry, but that was hands down probably one of the best experiences I've had there. Just buried into basically it was a foxhole,
yeah.
like a crater.
And then every time we made a comment, I remember just the amount of paint just ramping up over our heads.
God, like yeah, I think I was actually I was running my cocker at that point.
Yeah.
And it was just like I'd fire off a couple volleys into there, and next thing you know, I'm just getting just chewed apart by speedballers.
Yeah. And then I remember looking back and everyone just confused in the center of the field, just looking at like, why is there speedball people coming in and they're facing off against Meg-fed players on the front line defense? It was just something they've never seen before. And then everyone else is behind us trying to give us some support.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was that was actually, yeah. As cooler heads prevailed, I actually looked at Thresher and was just like, man, that was fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah. It was probably about maybe a 5-minute stretch we were in that ditch before we ran out of paint and had to call ourselves out. But
yeah,
we dug in and we made the best we could.
Actually, sorry about that, Thresher. Actually, I just wanted to raise a point. I actually just got to get back to work. But yeah, no, at the beginning of the game there, they were actually looking for 2 medics. Yeah. And I ended up volunteering to be a medic. I lasted about half an hour on the front line. Don't know how many people I revived, but what actually took me out was a nice volley from just over top of the ridge line there, dead square into no man's land.
That'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd do it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
I do have to get back to work, guys. Love seeing you guys. Hope to play with you guys game soon, and much love.
Yeah, buddy.
We'll
see you again soon, baby.
Yeah. So with that, that was basically the bottom part of the field where it starts to like kind of go down to their section. So for you, Brad and Thomas, I'm not too sure exactly where you guys were at that point, because like I said, when we were kind of pushing in, that's when I seen Thomas kind of going off to the side. So I believe you guys went into that field that was just above that landing zone, if I'm correct.
Oh, that was when I got into it with Tango up there, because I was wrapping around and just screaming and walking forward and having people just pulling people forward. And we were trying, I didn't know because I just kind of wandered in. We were pushing them back into their spawn and we're just throwing paint. And he and I got into it. He lit me up. I didn't notice. We hollered at each other. I ended up stumbling back. I made quite a few runs. I tended to just kind of bounce around and go look to see the whole thing, the whole experience, get to the top of the hill. The cool refill station right on the battlefield was awesome.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of specific fights I remember. I remember like running into the same people, running into the brothers ref, who I absolutely love and can't wait to see again. And just kind of meeting all these different people and getting in little engagements, little skirmishes, and then running off. Catching up with the wolf in the afternoon when he was hiding down low in the woods and he was hunting Nightmare was a blast, because it's just really cool to run into somebody like that who's a real talented sneaky in the woods. And
I remember I ran into him also. It was like when we came back, reloaded, and I went back in. I remember I just ran into him in the middle of the woods, and he just looks at me. And of course, we kind of had like that YouTuber moment where he's like, "Hey, is there any paint on my camera?" And I looked over, and I'm like, "No, you're good." And I'm like, "Any on mine?" He goes, "Yeah, no, you're good." And then I remember he was like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What do you want to do? I just came back." And I remember we went to the the top part of the section where that ridge line was, where that covered bridge is. And I remember we just dug in there, and I think us digging in there was actually able to help you guys down on that other section of the field try and hold that off, because a lot of the allies were trying to try and go for that flank into the backside of the field.
Yeah, it was getting messy down there, but it again, it went back and forth. Once they rebalanced the team after lunch, they rebalanced the team, and then they got the Mirabelle Army.
And
Yeah.
those rebalance, if that was they put their thumb on the scale.
Yeah,
a little bit, but I mean, it didn't really do them any good at the end of the day either.
No,
Yeah.
It really didn't. At the end of the day, when we had enough of their happy horse shit, we dealt with them in a way only we could. Kick the shit out of them is what we did. That's my happy moment. That's my happy like shit talk moment in paintball now, is that I fucking walked into the Mirabelle Army and I took their guns and I took their win. And the only thing I didn't take is I didn't take their women. And I probably should have done that too, to teach them a lesson for fucking with me. But they made me pay. When I got home, I had a nice volley of bruises. But that happens. I think that's a pretty common thing in big games, is that you have that that rebalancing moment, because it needs to be done.
Yeah.
It still needs to be fun for everybody.
Yeah.
I
know, like, the one thing that did play out pretty fun with the teams, kind of when they had that rebalance go into effect, and then it didn't really balance it out, like what Brad was saying, was when they started shifting towards the back of the field, the Mirabelle Army started moving to the back of the field. I remember going back there with Trevor, Luke, and I think Brad was the one that told us that they were pushing back, and he tried to pull us over there. And I remember getting to the point we were kind of right on the front line again, and Trevor and I used this like down tree bushy area. We just laid right in there, and we just basically became a pillbox. And then Trevor, actually, I'll let you tune in on this.
Yeah, we laid down under like this really overhung tree there, and they didn't see us at all, which I was kind of shocked by. Like we were low enough to the ground that they just weren't really paying attention. And I think that was at the same time that I burned my hand on a smoke grenade.
Oh fuck, that's right.
And botched the throw completely.
I've never really had any luck throwing smokes, so I've generally just been like, someone give me smoke, I'm like, here, fucking take this. I make my own smoke, so I don't need no fucking smoke grenade. Ooh, look at the fancy boys. You wait till next year, boys and girls. Your king has something new for next year, and it's gonna be just I'm gonna tease some people up with my new toys, because I'm feeling sassy now. Oh yeah. Some of the boys in Port City are going to try to turn me into a T-15 boy. They're going to try. It's probably going to happen, especially if I can make like a sexy little AR out of it. Because I mean, hashtag mag dump the pores.
Yeah, actually, I don't think the Inception body would actually work with it. But like, if you look at the MG100 has the Inception body, which basically you can add AR parts to the gun itself.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen what you can do with the MG100 and all of its adaptable parts. I'm also, like I've been saying, I'm a contrarian, and I refuse. So Trevor, keep telling me stories. I want to hear more stories from Trevor, because they turn me on a little bit.
Yeah, like I think that was one of the only real instances that I was actually with the rest of the Maritimers, because I mean, like, I think for the most part, I got split off a lot with like random people. One time at the Ontario Magfetters took me with them,
that's right. You ran
and I was
off
like
with
way
those
ahead of
guys.
them. They refused to move up to where the Mirabelle Army was towards the start of the day when they were still on our team. They refused to move up, and I was just like, guys, we gotta let's push a little bit. And I remember getting partway down the hill before running out of paint and calling myself out, but it was this weird thing, because I guess I guess none of them had seen a Magfetter run down with speed bars.
No, that's something that I did notice too, that they're sneaky boys, those Magfed lads. They sit there and they wait for that shot. They don't just run in like we do, but we've spent so much time playing open class that we don't know any better.
Ontario's got the population to support a proper mag fed, like,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
setup,
100%.
you know what I mean? So they have that luxury of playing a very specific style.
Yeah, and speaking of that, when Trevor was talking about with the Ontario Magfetters when he was playing with them, I believe that was also the point where we kind of all reunited at that one major push section after we kept getting pushed back to our spawn point, and then we started taking half the field back. At this point, I believe all of us were kind of around the middle of the field area, or we were shadowing behind that little village just behind the center of the field. And this is kind of one of the turn points, I believe, where we actually got our name from. Luke was the one that was next to a person with the radio that ended up tuning into the Mirabel Army radio like channels they had, or someone else that had it. But when we started making our push and like we were timing it, we're just like 3, 2, 1, push, and then we just push 30 feet, dig back in, and then we would wait, fight it out, push 30 feet, dig back in. And every time we pushed, all we hear is the Maritimers are coming. Like, we need more people over here now. And just they kept on screaming that. And then Luke was just like, I guess we got a name now.
Nice. Good on you, lads. I didn't know that. I had just been out and about being a general asshat so much that weekend. Just throwing my ass out there and seeing how many people's skin I could get under. And it was an absolutely wonderful event. I can't wait to do it again. Because
definitely can't wait for next year.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a wild. That's gonna be Mr. Toad's wild ride for sure.
Talking about you getting under people's skin, let's fast forward to the end of the day when we're doing that final battle on that little field where everyone was there and with the slapsticks.
Oh, that's a crown jewel of my weekend. Just walking into those. First of all, I was watching Zach and Brad do this, and they're running in like, it's almost like watching an old school mosh pit, because one would run up and would tank the shots and the other one would run behind him. And then if one didn't get the slapstick or overshot it and went into the 50-yard line, the other one would just be like, boop, and he would just tap it.
Yep.
And then we started kind of getting our guys going back and forth and doing that. And that's when we startled no effing team, those guys. That was Rhino and that gang, Nico, the Fro, and those boys, just walking straight into them. When they told me walking onto the field, oh, as long as you make forward progression, don't worry about it. Okay. So I'm a big lad. I'm a big proponent in hashtag thick boy life.
Thick boy
because
life.
Thick boy life, like Turtle, boys like Turtle and I are thick boys. Brad's a thick boy. No shame against the skinny lads, but the thick boys, no one thinks we're going to run. No one thinks, but when you see a guy like Matt Sauvageau, who is, he's a thick boy. When he comes around the corner, if he's running, get the fuck out of his way. Cause there's a thing, it's basic physics, an unstoppable force. If I'm running at you, it's best to get the fuck out of my way because I'm probably not going to stop. I'm going to run you over. And they were laughing because I would run back and I'd throw my arms up and I'd be screaming at them and trying to get our MagFed boys up because they were all hunkering down, but nobody was going out there to tank those shots. And we were running out of paint. Brad was running out of paint. I was using Kenny's gun. It was all or nothing. And I wasn't going home telling people that it was recording in progress. You whore, I know you are. Even if you didn't press recording, I know you're fucking recording, you skank. Anyways, oh, sorry. We also have our famous request of fuck Jeff Bezos. So wait, no, not fuck Jeff Bezos.
I mean, yeah,
sorry.
But also
sorry, I didn't mean fuck Jeff Bezos. Sorry, CIA guys. I meant fuck Joe Rogan. So we played a hell of a game Thresher just about popped me. Well, he did pop me in the back. He almost popped me in the back of the head because I ran up and just made one of those little dashes that I make and chugged up front and tapped against the building. And I was looking and I just remember whack and getting shot in the back. And I'm like, fuck. And he's just like, you ran in front of me, dude. I'm like, yeah, I really did. I know.
Just looks back, just like,
just kind of go like that. I'm like, the fuck. And then, yeah, that was a lot of fun. You guys were a wicked base of fire, just just sending paint, and they didn't know which way to look. And every time we turned around, every time they turned around, there's somebody else just sending her.
Yeah.
I hope that they do that again this year, because that really was fantastic. Oh, hello, Kat. No, you can't hit the bong with me.
Yeah. I remember after that, it was we kind of all fell back and like moved to the other side of the field, and that's when Brad and you were just like running in, slapping the sticks. And then I moved in behind you, and I got kind of more towards the center of the field. I was right on the front line, and at one point I switched my pistol because I ran out of paint, and I'm just sitting there, just going like around the building, do like a little shot, and then peeking back. And then I remember you coming back, and you just screaming, "Are you not entertained?" and just kicking the barrel.
Oh man, I was hyped, man. It was pure hype. I was dissatisfied with the push that I was seeing, and I wanted at that point I had been shot from neck to kneecaps and the back of my head to my arse, and I was so incensed that people were sitting back and watching me get shot while I and my boys were fucking winning the game for them. We weren't having that. I got toe to toe with Nico the Fro, which again, that dude is a maniac.
I still say I have both maybe 4 or 5 paintballs stuck in his afro.
Oh, he had quite a few. I loved at the end of it, Rhino was shocked because I ran up to him, give him a big hug. He thought I was angry with him because he was laughing. He's like, you would just walk right out, and he's like, and you wouldn't stop. And I had so much adrenaline, but when I walked off the field, I'm just like, oh, I think maybe, thank God for Mel, the field mom. She's like, all right, dummy, you need to stop. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm fucking done. Went and sat down in the tent with the boys. I'm just like, I'm gonna sit here for a while. I've made bad choices.
I remember at one point where someone was making a move towards the center of the field, and everyone just started shooting the guy, and they kept missing because of where he was. And I just remember Wolf getting like pelted by at least maybe 10 or 20 paintballs.
Oh, he made me pay.
Yeah, he was on the very back, like not doing anything. He was kind of like out of the game. It just got pelted by a barrage.
He made me pay. Oh man, Wolf. Yeah. He watched me run, and he was sitting there with that diadem of his, and he just went ping, 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 and they were first strikes, and I could hear them going past my head, and I could feel them pinking off of my vest, and I'm just like, oh my, and I could hear him laughing. I can still to this day hear him giggling his ass off back there. He's like a giant kid. And just laughing because he knows full well he's putting everyone into my thick boy booty. But I can take the heat. That's what they pay the king for. It's not for finesse that you call the man in the golden crown. You call me because you want all eyes on the center of attention, which is fucking me, baby. That's what makes me the king, because I also have a retinue of phenomenal knights of the blunted table who are really the backbone of my army. I am just a figurehead, but I have fantastic knights that are going to fucking help me crush the competition next year. We're going to go back bigger and badder, with some modified gear, with some new understanding of what we're walking into. I'm going to sacrifice Kenny like you do any good pawn. Just kind of,
and that's just for good fuel mileage.
Yeah.
Well, if we plan it all out right and it works out with everybody, there's going to be 9 of us in our group going up this year for 2023.
Yeah, and I know of a few other lads that are talking about making the trip up. And then again, there's the 10th anniversary of PRZ, which I'm telling you boys, if you haven't played it before, you've never seen anything like it, and quite sadly, you'll never see it again. This is it. This is it, baby. I want to see everybody out there because it's going to be a day of glory.
Yeah.
Like it's a 1-day event. It's a 1-day only thing. So you gotta throw your ass out there to get spanked. So that's what we're going to be doing for sure this year.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And on that shocking bombshell, gentlemen, I do have to bid you adieu. I have things to attend to in my kingdom that don't involve the bong. I do want to thank you boys for having us on your show.
I want to thank you for joining.
Oh,
yep.
No harm, no foul to have me again. My kingdom is small and there's not much to be monitored over, but the royal kitties are being assholes. Again, if you do end up putting this on Facebook, I got a shout out to our sponsor, DEFCON Paintball. Use the Maritime promo code. It is now Big Daddy G on DEFCON Paintball. If you use that code, you will get a fucking discount. And you can even put in the chat box the king sent you, because Big Daddy G loves us.
And for all you watching on YouTube, you can check out their show on Facebook. They do a live cast every Thursday night. I believe start time is 8 p.m.
8:30 p.m. Eastern.
8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
No, sorry, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Atlantic. There we go.
Atlantic, or whatever we are called. But anyways, I do appreciate your most excellent things, and don't touch yourselves, don't take Skittles from strangers, and peace.
Cheers, bye.
See you. Yeah, so with that, Brad, I just want to say thanks again for coming on the show and all that. And I'd like to have your side of the story, because like I said, like even we all agreed there was a good part where we were separating throughout the day, and there's a good tale on each of those stories for when we separated and we didn't really know about it, right? And that's the point of this show, is to hear your point of view of what happened throughout that day and how things played. Normally, like for the show, we're going to be doing it like at the field, but because we're all across the Atlantic Canada and also in Ontario, this is the only platform really we could make this work for this episode.
Yeah, no, I mean, thanks for having me on. As for like what I saw, unfortunately, D-Day for me was very much a blur. I saw a lot of it from a stage.
Yeah, because you were kind of roped into that last minute.
Last minute MC, loved it. I live for that. I live to be on stage. So yeah, emceeing the event was phenomenal. Fantastic. I love doing that stuff. But I mean, yeah, it was a great event, and I mean, I got into a little bit of it in the woods, and it was fun. There was some points where you could truly feel the natural back and forth of the two teams going toe to toe. So that was great. It was really well run that way. And next year is going to be even better. I know it already. I've learned a few things, and next year is going to be fantastic.
And that's basically all you can do at this point. You can only take from your past experience, learn from your mistakes, and keep pushing.
100%.
Like 100%. This year going up, we're definitely going to be probably running some radios, and we'll probably pass them off to maybe like every second person, whatever, in a group, just so that if we do separate, we have some type of communication.
Always a good way to do it.
Luke and I were just even talking about using Snapchat and just having our little group, right? And we just say like, oh, we're in sector 4, we need reinforcements, and then just those guys will relocate to our sector.
Yeah. If you run radios, the Bofangs are fantastic. Just make sure you program them properly. And then, if you want to risk it, there's some pretty half decent cellular coverage.
Yeah.
On that field.
I think there was actually a problem with cellular once we got towards like the center of the field. I remember the bars were dropping to like barely 2 bars.
You are really out in the sticks out that way. A lot of farmland. I mean, to build a paintball field outside of the city, technically in the city limits of Ottawa, you got to be pretty far out there. So yeah, you're going to run into some issues cellular that way. So radio be phenomenal, probably your best chance, and a good way to stay in contact with everybody around for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I won't keep you too long. So yeah, thanks again for coming on the show. For all you, like I said, check out their Facebook Live show on Maritime Paintball Podcast. You can also find them on Spotify as well.
Yeah, check us out. All right, man. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem.
Cheers, man.
And for all of you, have a good night. And thank you, Trevor, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Well, here we go.